we've been talking about all these really cool, forward-thinking, futuristic things. I'm going to bring it way down. We're going to talk about the three-tier system, which is kind of antiquated. Everyone here know what I'm talking about when I say the three-tier system? We're all beverage people. We get it. All right. So I'm going to talk a little bit about myself because I think that really my journey into what I have done in my career and what I've done in the past has brought me to found Libdib and to do what I think is going to evolve the three-tier system. And I say evolve, I don't say disrupt. I learned kind of early on that some of these traditional wholesalers and traditional things in the industry don't like the word disrupt, so we say evolve. We're changing things, we're not trying to break it, but we're trying to help small suppliers and small producers be involved in the three-tier system, which in the past they really have had challenges in doing so. So with that, just a little bit of history about me. My family owns a 100,000 case winery. It's in the Central Coast. It's called Clos La Chance, and I started working for them a couple of years after college. My parents actually made me interview for them. They did not think that I would do the job, but I was there for 18 years, so I was doing something right. First 10 years were great. My entire job was developing the wholesale channel. So I built it up from 10 markets to 40 markets. I probably worked with 200 distributors in my career at almost every single state. First 10 years were awesome. I was selling all of our cases. I was getting the ride with. I was getting the sales meetings. I was able to get my cases to where they needed to be. And then things started changing. You started to see consolidation happen in all three tiers of the industry. You had consolidation first at the wholesale tier, then even at the supplier tier. Suppliers were buying small, big giant suppliers were buying other suppliers. And then you had the retailers also consolidating. So it was really difficult even to get into a market. And even if you were in the market, it was really difficult to do the work to help you get your brand out there and to sell into the restaurants and retailers and eventually to consumers. So for the first 10 years, I was out there doing it myself. I was traveling a ton. I was, doing the sales meetings. It was very interesting. I was even in these rooms where it was all men and there's a bunch of people in the back of the room smoking cigarettes. Like, that's how long ago this was. But it was great. We were getting the work done. When we started not getting the work done, I had to start getting creative. How could I get my cases out there? So first thing I did was okay, I'll get a sales team. I'll get 5 more people out in the street. We'll start calling on the wholesalers. We'll start doing more work. We'll start doing more markets and doing the things that we need to do. Well, that was challenging because, again, we were only a 100,000 case winery. When the distributors started to consolidate, they wouldn't pay attention to us. We weren't able to get into the market to do the work that we needed to do. They weren't answering our phone calls. So then I said, okay, tried the sales team. That's not working. We can't do it efficiently. We're not making money. What are we going to do next? So we hired a sales and marketing company, thinking that being part of a bigger book would help our brand get attention of the wholesalers. First thing that sales and marketing company did was have us change all of our distributors because they were all aligned with different distributors. And if you've ever changed distributors after being with one for a while, not really smart. You'll get all your products moved and taken off the shelf, and you almost have to start over. So we started over, and that was a big disaster. And then at that point, I said, okay, what else can we do? So we started coming up with new brands. How could I get new and innovative, kind of fun brands? This is the time of, you had all the Yellowtails and the Critter brands out there, and my family's wine had a hummingbird on it. So I'm like, okay, what else can we do? So I came up with a few new brands. I don't know if any of you ever heard of Mommy Juice. That was me. Yeah, I came up with the brand Mommy Juice. Learned a lot about trademark law in that little project, and having celebrities yell at me. It was pretty fun. But learned a lot with that. Also came up with another brand called the Vegan Vine, which this is another one of our pictures here. So this was kind of my breaking point of distribution because I had distribution. I had a celebrity, John Sally, is a basketball player who's super involved with the vegan community. He was part of the brand. He was helping us. He was out there in the market actually making sales calls. And you have a 6'11" basketball player walking down the street with you in New York. You're selling cases. I was selling cases left and right. So he was in Miami, and he was doing some work some other work, and he went and visited a vegan cafe, and he brought some samples in, and vegan cafe says, this is great, we're gonna put you on by the glass, 6 cases, send it right away. And he calls me up, he's so excited, he texts me like 4 times, Cheryl, send this. So I call my distributor, and I say, hey, send these 6 cases. You have inventory, I have distribution, I have everything that I need, and they didn't get back to me for about 2 weeks, but then when they finally did get back to me, it was, oh, we don't go there. I'm like, what do you mean you don't go there? I have 6 case placement, please go there. Oh, no, we don't call on them because they're not big enough. And then I just said, okay, this is when I started drinking, as you can see in the second picture there. I had a distributor, I had a product, I had somebody that wanted it, but I couldn't get it there. And that was super frustrating, and it really just made me kind of start thinking very differently about how I'm this small producer. These 6 cases mean a lot to me. They mean a lot to John Sally. He was really excited. And I couldn't get it through the 3-tier system efficiently, and so I got drunk. My dad and I, so I'd been doing this for 18 years. This is around beginning of 2016 when all of this kind of happened. My dad was my boss at the time. I always wanted to make sure I was out there selling my cases and doing a good job for my family. For the last 2 years, I was like, I can't make my numbers. And I had all these numbers for 2016, and I said, I'm not gonna be able to make these numbers because this wholesaler got bought, these guys went out of business, these guys aren't paying their bills, I'm not really sure how this is gonna work. So probably 2, maybe 3 bottles of Pinot later, we just started kind of pontificating and saying, you know what, let's be our own wholesaler, and let's do it with a technology platform, and kind of just spewed out all of these ideas of how we could change this industry to help the small guys, and napkined it out, forgot about it, went to bed, woke up, semi-hangover, but looked at it and said, okay, this is kind of cool. Maybe we should start looking into this and researching it. So we put together a business model, I'm based in the middle of Silicon Valley, so kind of went to some VC folks and said, hey, how do we do this? They said, hire your technologist. Our CTO, his name's Rich Brashears, he's got 20 years in the industry, and he initially just wanted to get involved with the data that we're starting to see, but 12 hours after I pitched him the idea, he called me up and says, I want to build the platform. So that was August 2016 when we started building the platform. We launched in March of 2017. And we launched in California and New York, 2 states. One of the things you should know, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the business model and how it works, and how we're different from traditional distribution. Traditional distribution, you have a big, a distributor coming and purchasing your cases, couple pallets, they'll store it, and then those salespeople will go out there and then they'll deliver it. The challenges with that is that they, with the consolidation of the distributors, they have a lot of brands, and they're not necessarily paying attention to building new brands, and they make their money on volume. So what I am trying to do with our platform and with Libdib is any small producer can have distribution on our platform in the states that we operate in, and you can do it almost instantaneously. If you've ever been out there trying to pitch a brand to a distributor and get it out in the marketplace, it takes a long time. It takes money, it takes effort. You have to go visit them, you have to launch it with their sales reps. You have incentive programs you have to put into place. The way that we wanted it was seamless. You go in, give us your licenses, you show us you're compliant, and then boom, you're in a marketplace through our platform. We don't buy inventory, we don't have trucks, we don't have inventory, we don't have warehouses, we don't have salespeople. We like to think of our platform as the sales rep. It does a lot of things that a sales rep would typically do. They go in, they ask for the order reminder. They go in, it can suggest other products. Those kinds of things are the things that we're building to help these small brands as they are entering the marketplace. When we get an order, it's a 1 case at a time distribution model. So a retailer or restaurant sees a product on our platform, they order it, we do a PO to the supplier, they send it in the compliant way, which is different by state and often different by alcohol content and where it's going and how it's going to get there. So that's what our platform does. It tells the producer where to send it, and it gets there in that compliant, 3-tier compliant way. often with FedEx. And we have some neat programs with them that is bringing the cost of that shipping down quite a bit. So after we launched 2017, I got a couple of phone calls like within 10 minutes. And the first phone call was from wine.com, which was really cool, one of the bigger wine retailers in the whole country, and saying, what are you doing? What are your licenses? How does this work? They're like, this is awesome, because we want more small production, higher margin wines, and they've slowly become one of our largest customers, which is pretty cool. The second call that I got was from Craig Wolf, who was the president of WSWA at the time. And I was from the supplier side, so that was like super scary for me. He really was like the big bad wolf to the wineries. But so I spent a day and I thought about it and I called him back and we had the greatest conversation. Talked about how, what's happening in the market, what he's seeing from the big distributor side, the small distributor side, the supplier side. It was just awesome. And he says, hey, come to my conference. The WSWA conference in Orlando was happening, a few weeks after that. I want you to meet some people. And he started setting up meetings for me. And I met a whole bunch of different wholesalers. And then I sat down with Tom Cole from R&DC. And we, again, it was one of those awesome conversations. And here's how we see the industry. Here's what we see happening. Here is what I see your places. It was just one of those moments in my career where I was like, wow, this is amazing. And so it was about over the next 2 years, we were operating and we were starting to work on new processes and getting our platform up to speed. And continued talking to a number of people in R&DC in particular. And last October, we signed a deal with R&DC that we've formed a joint venture that we're going to work together to bring our model of this 3-tier distribution to every supplier that wants it in every market, no matter what the product size, no matter what the pricing is, et cetera, that we would use their logistics and compliance and warehouses, and we would use our technology. So it's really cool. The stuff that we're doing together, again, this is pretty forward thinking for the 3-tier industry in that anybody can have access, any product, even one case at a time. And we're super excited to be partnered with R&DC to help us do that. They, again, are super forward thinking and are interested in the technology side of what we're doing. And so it's happening. We just got our license in Colorado with them. We have 14 other markets that we are in the licensing process. My goal is 1 case at a time distribution for all we call suppliers makers, makers in any market, and I want to do that by the time I'm 50. Which I'm not going to tell you how many, it's 4 years away, but I want to be in 50 states by the time I'm 50. So that's what we're doing. And I have some time for questions, I think.